here and a crown here, because in my story today there is a king, and I've got some nice pictures I made. So this is the king. He looks quite happy, doesn't he? He looks quite kind. He's got a nice smile. Well, that is our king. In our story there are some of these, and when these appear, do you know what it is? It's a lion. What does a lion say? That's right, the lion says, "Roar!" Can you roar like a great big lion? Roar! Well, in our story, there are lots and lots of lions. Can I hear lots of roaring? Roar, roar, roar. Well, lots of lions, a king, and then a man. So we're going to start our story now. Once there was a man called Daniel. This is my picture of Daniel. Daniel was very happy, and he had been asked to work for the king. This king, in fact. Daniel worked very, very hard, and he always made the king happy, because Daniel made good choices, and he did what he was told. He always made good choices, and he always did the right thing. One of Daniel's favourite things was to pray and talk to God, because he knew God loved him. Well, there was someone who worked with Daniel, this man. He didn't like Daniel. He didn't like the brilliant job that Daniel did, and he didn't like the way the king liked Daniel. So he made a sneaky plan. It's not very kind, is it? He decided that he would get Daniel in trouble. But he couldn't find anything Daniel had done wrong to get him in trouble, because Daniel had made lots and lots of good choices. So the man watched Daniel carefully. The man saw that every day before work and after work, Daniel would pray to God. And that gave the man a sneaky idea. So the sneaky man said, "I'm going to make a new rule, and I'm going to get the king to say it's okay." So the sneaky man went to see the king. He said, "Excuse me, your majesty. I've got a new rule that will make everyone think you're the most wonderful man in the whole wide world." Well, the king liked the sound of that. He wanted to be the most wonderful man in the whole wide world. So the sneaky man told him his plan. He said, "What we'll do is, if anybody prays or says anybody is better than the king, we'll throw them to the lions." Well, the king thought that was wonderful. That would guarantee everybody saying that the king was the most wonderful man in the whole world. And the sneaky man thought, "Ha ha ha, I've got rid of Daniel." Now, when Daniel heard the news, he felt a little bit sad. He loved talking to God, because God took care of him no matter what was happening, and God cared about him every day, and God listened to him whenever he talked, and God helped him make good choices. Daniel decided not to be sad, and he thought, "I'm going to pray anyway. I'm going to talk to God because he loves me, and we should talk to the people we love." The king didn't know this was a terrible trap to trap Daniel and get rid of him, but the sneaky man thought he'd been successful. So he watched and he waited, and that day he followed Daniel home from work. When Daniel got home, he did the same as every day. He prayed and thanked God for loving him, and he thanked him for helping him at work. And he prayed over his food and said, "Thank you, God, for my yummy dinner." Well, the sneaky man saw him and dashed straight to the king. He said, "Hey there, king, listen to me. There's someone who's broke the rules and said God's better than you are." Well, the king was cross, and he said, "Well, we've made a rule about that. We'll have to throw them to the lions." The lions, are you ready to roar? The lions, roar, were really, really hungry, and the king could hear them roaring. The sneaky man said, "Yes, it was Daniel, your friend." "Oh no," thought the king, "but I can't change the rules. Daniel's going to get thrown to the lions." So they went and they fetched Daniel. Daniel was a bit sad by what the king had said, that he had to be thrown to the lions. But he knew that God was with him wherever he was, whether things were good or bad. And Daniel said, "Please, God, keep me safe." They got hold of Daniel and they threw him in the lion pit. Can you do some big roars? Roar, roar, roar. And straight away the lions rushed over and they roared a mighty roar. Roar went the lions. But then they stopped roaring. God sent some help. And Daniel was happy and Daniel was safe. But nobody knew that. Daniel sat down with his new friend, the lion. And there they sat and they waited. And they waited and they waited till morning had come. And in the morning, the king was sad. The king thought, oh no, I've got rid of my best friend by being tricked by someone mean. I'll go and check on the lions. When the king walked over to where the lions were in their den, he couldn't hear any roaring. And he couldn't hear Daniel, and he thought, oh no, it's got to be bad news. But he shouted down, hey Daniel, are you in there? Did your God keep you safe? And all of a sudden, a voice said, yes, I'm fine, King. I'm absolutely fine. God has kept me safe. Hip, hip, hooray! The man who was unkind, he got in a lot of trouble. And the king started making better decisions than feeding people to roaring lions. Shall we have one last roar? Roar! I do like that one.